drop the link in the simulcast chat.
What is today?
Oh, you know what today is, my friend. You know what today is.
Okay. Lucy.
I'll text you on the side, okay?
Perfect.
I say we get to it.
Let's do it, man.
Bro, that was...
Man, I thought that Fred 3 was in, dude. I was so nervous.
He had the right arc on it. It was
He
just
did.
like, and it just, yeah, I know. I had the same thought at the same time. Anyway, we're gonna get to it in 1 second here. Let me get to it real quick here. All right, ready to go. Hey everyone. Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 and use the promo code WELCOME. Welcome to Light Years. Tommy Gunn, Tommy, my man. That was a fucking playoff game. I don't know. Game 4 right now. I'm reminded of the one and the great Don Nelson. I want to crack. In his case, it's cracking a Bud Light. In my case, it's crack a Surfside.
Love it.
Ooh, that was a fucking playoff game.
Man, oh man.
Oh, that was a playoff game.
I mean, there's a million things to dive into on it, but like that kind of sums it up. This was, I don't call this the series, but it kind of was the series, right? Houston came with the intensity that it was the series. They did everything in their power to win this game. They tried to get Draymond. They tried to get Draymond and Steph in their heads, tried to get them ejected, tried to do everything there. And honestly, nearly worked the entire way through.
No, look, I hate this Rockets team if I'm being totally honest, but they come with the necessary fight, man. Like they are doing everything they can to win this series. They're probably just a little bit outmatched from an experience standpoint, championship resume standpoint, obviously. And, tonight was a night where Steph didn't really have it like he normally does. Scored 7 on Saturday, played 41 minutes, looked a little bit tired, but he's already got you 2 wins. And, over the course of the playoff series, you're going to need other guys to step up. And obviously Pods was fantastic tonight. Buddy, massive minutes, especially starting in the third quarter, helped on the glass, made some shots. And they found a way to win at the end of the day. And obviously Jimmy down the stretch was fantastic. Huge rebound on that last Şengün miss. But they got contributions from everywhere. And now they got a chance to go to close it out on Wednesday.
Yeah. To me, this was why you go get Jimmy Butler. I mean, on face value, they're just not even in this moment if they don't make the move for Jimmy, and we all know that. And it is what it is, but it's, Steph went Superman the first 3 games of the series, and particularly game 3, where I didn't know he could still do that at that level, playing 43 minutes?
Something like that.
Something in that range. Well, they're playing a game less than 48 hours after against a young athletic side. He looked a little more tired, and it was kind of like, who's going to step up? Who's going to provide a little offense to take a little off his plate there? And that's really, in my opinion, why you get someone like Jimmy. Pods really was kind of phenomenal all game, and I don't want to discount him in any capacity because they're not in this game without Pods. Anyway, but it was really just being able to put the ball in Jimmy's hands down the stretch a little bit and stabilize the game there. And particularly the stretch in the third quarter when Draymond was on the bench. We'll get to it in a minute, but Steve did the right thing. He took him off the court when it looked like he was on the verge of just, either getting ejected or fouling out of the game. And they had to find a way to it felt like an eternity, but what was it, 8 minutes of game time, 9 minutes of game time there to
Mhm.
go without him. Those are the type of moments where getting someone like Jimmy Butler really makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously when Şengün got loose, right? When Dre picks up the fifth
Sure.
and they got a, and look, I thought everybody that came in like post tried his ass off. He just, he's not at that point in his career yet where he has the strength,
Mm.
physicality, the experience to stop a guy like Şengün, who's an all-star level player, like as much as he might whine and as annoying as he might be, he's a really good player. He's really skilled, he's tough, he's strong, can pass the ball a little bit. And obviously Van Vliet was making shots too. So, that the Rockets, they put up a pretty incredible fight, in my opinion. But like you said, that's why you go get Jimmy. He's just able to calm things down the stretch of a game like that. They look so much more composed in those late game possessions. Jimmy tonight, 27, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. And that is, as much as anything else, obviously the secondary scoring matters a ton, but just the control and the composure he shows on the stretch. Because over the years, everybody knows this. Like, if Steph and Dre have a weakness, they get loose with the ball, and Jimmy is the
Yeah.
total opposite, and it just adds a really nice wrinkle and another dimension to what they can do.
We're gonna take live callers to the Goons. We'll be getting to you very soon, but I want to talk about there's 2 moments in this game which I think we really need to talk about before we bring callers on right now. First was the Dillon Brooks altercation in the second quarter. All right, so everyone who's listening to this, watch the game. You want to take them through your interpretation of the events?
I mean, first of all, Dillon trips Steph on purpose, and then Steph taunts him a little bit because Dillon Brooks said, it's only one foul a couple possessions prior. Trips Steph. Steph flashes 2 fouls at him. And I thought Dre just came in to like defend Steph of like all the dumb shit I've seen Draymond do over the years. That was incredibly mild. That was like a 2 out of 10 by his standards. And I honestly, if the league was objective about it, I think that's a technical that could get rescinded. Draymond's in particular, they probably won't just because it's Draymond and he's a repeat offender or whatever they like to term it as. So I doubt that happens. But the whole thing was instigated by Dillon tripping Steph on just hedging on a pick and roll. And it kind of just, that game got really messy and really ugly from that point on until the end of the second quarter. It was just an absolute slog. It felt like that second quarter was never going to end.
Yeah, and right after that was the altercation with Tari Eason. What'd you think of that one? I know what Rockets fans are going to say about that one. Like, I don't need to put on Locked On Rockets to hear them complaining and crying about how he should be ejected. Sorry, guys. Actually, I'm not sorry.
I had no reason to be sorry. I mean, I don't think it didn't look intentional to me. Like, I'm going to defend Draymond no matter what, even when he's wrong. So I'm not the most objective party here, but that didn't look like he had intentionally like slammed his feet on Tari's head. And Tari's actually a guy that Draymond respects. Like, he said that in multiple interviews and multiple podcasts. So I don't think that was intentional, but because it's Draymond, they're going to officiate it the way they officiate it. But I thought we actually kind of got lucky there, but them making it a flagrant instead of a technical. Because obviously, if he gets a second technical, he's gone, and then they probably lose that game. But the whole thing was weird. The refs just kind of lost control of everything. It felt like for about 7 or 8 minutes, and they really struggled to get it back until they got that halftime buzzer.
That's kind of how I saw it too. I thought the Rockets, and this has kind of been their MO. They're just like, let's see how far we can get away with it. Cause I guarantee you one of our guys getting ejected will not hurt us as much as one of their core guys.
Yeah.
We lose Tari Eason, we got 4 other Tari Easons, we lose Dillon Brooks, might help us, to be honest, like that sort of thing. Whereas like Warriors lose Draymond or Steph, that is a seismic shift for them in that capacity. So that's kind of strategy. And like, honestly, I can't blame them for going to it. If anything, Steph and Draymond need to be a little better in taking the bait there. But even in that standpoint, I don't know. The Warriors definitely, it did its job for the Rockets, which was Steph and Draymond got a little frazzled and they gave up like an 8-0 run at the end of the second quarter there. So got the Rockets back into the game. But then the second half started, they got over it. Didn't feel like it mattered from that point forward. I don't know. That's what teams are like, right or wrong. That's what every team's going to do with Draymond Green if they feel like they're quote unquote losing the battle with the Warriors at any point. Like, that is your reputation, buddy. He knows it. Everyone on the team knows it, right? Like, it's that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all resigned to it at this point. Do you think there's any chance they rescind that first technicals? Because I really didn't think he did anything wrong there. It seemed like he was actually trying to de-escalate the situation for once instead of escalating it.
Maybe. Does it really matter at this point? Is that his first tech of the playoff? I mean, it matters in the
Uh,
sense that the man can run up the text really quick.
yeah.
So
Well,
I'd rather not have it on there than have it on there. But
is it 4 or 5 technicals that gets you in a suspension in the playoffs? Because in the regular season, it's obviously like every 16 or something like that. But playoffs, I think it's 4, maybe 5. So, like you said, he can run them up quickly, especially in longer series. So I would hope they at
7.
least
It's
look at it.
7.
It's 7. Okay, then he should be fine. He should be okay. But yeah, I just it really didn't seem like he was trying to cause issues there. It seemed like he was making sure that Dylan didn't start to fight Steph because it seemed like he might for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's how I see it. The other thing I really wanted to talk about before we get to the callers here, starting lineup change. I mean, the big take from the Warriors this game was they lean into Buddy. Moses goes to the bench. Honestly, played less minutes this game.
Mhm.
I think it was pretty obvious why. Like, they just don't really respect the Rockets' offense, and at the same time, they were just trying to do anything to generate more offense out there. Buddy's clearly the best shooter, not named Steph Curry on this roster. Get him out there, and I played a great game. I think it works. I don't know that they can use this lineup against some other teams they're going to face, but against a Rockets team where, I mean, who's their best creator? It's probably Şengün.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Fred was cooking tonight, but that was more he was just hitting threes. But just in terms of pure creation, it has to be Şengün.
Right. They're not a team where like they have a shifty ball handler who's going to put them in like high pick and roll or anything like that. So you can get away with it. You can get away with, being a little undersized on the wing and kind of deal with the fact that it's not maybe the best defensive trio. I think it worked though. It
Mhm.
worked.
I mean, it definitely worked, buddy. Game high plus 17 on the night, and obviously, like he's an incredibly streaky shooter. He was cold in the first half, got some threes to go in the second half, had a couple nice cuts, some nice drives to the rim. But the way he stays on the court is by not having too many brain farts defensively. He's always going to have a couple. That's just who he is as a player. But 2 steals, and I thought he was really good on, especially beginning of that second half there. I thought he was really good on the defensive glass. Got a couple kind of like contested rebounds or flew in from the perimeter and got some ones that the Rockets might have been able to gobble up. Because the offensive rebound, it's just going to be an issue until this series ends. Like the Rockets, they're just so much bigger, especially when they go to that double big lineup. But yeah, I thought Buddy, that's 2 straight good games from Buddy. And, you know, there's been a lot of complaining about Buddy within the fan base, I think, especially online. But the reason that I will like always believe in Steve as a coach and the reason why he has been such a great coach over the years is he stuck with Buddy throughout the year. Like even through the bad moments, he stuck with Buddy, whereas like other teams just wouldn't do that. Other coaches wouldn't do that. The Sixers shunned him last year in the playoffs. He couldn't get on the floor. But because Steve is constantly pumping him with confidence, constantly kind of like trusting in him because he like mentally he is trying to do the right things most of the time. That's why he shows up for you in back-to-back games of a tough playoff series.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got a ton of people want to call in. I want to get to everyone. So let's do a quick read before we do so. Okay. Appreciate
Let's do
everyone
it.
that's calling in. By the way, Buddy was easy money for me on my prize picks line today.
Love
I
it.
just want to throw it out there. Winning pretty big right now on the old prize picks. Guys, springtime is here and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players to your prize picks lineup. And with the basketball playoff push here, now is the time to join prize picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. Starting today, every lineup you make on prize picks will enter you in the ticket contest, which could get you and a friend a VIP trip to the championship. So it's pretty simple. You mix and match player projections from different sports, combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, whatever it may be. Honestly, played a little Fernando Tatis and Moses Moody tonight. Combo can't really do
Okay.
that everywhere else, but Prize Picks allows you to do it. Best way to get in on the real money action. Make your picks less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports takes into real money all season long. Guys, really simple. Download the app today. Use the code LIGHTYEARS and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. That's code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Light Years Podcast. We are also brought to you by Lucy, new sponsor. Lucy are nicotine pouches, nicotine capsules, 100% nicotine, no tobacco. Lucy Breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. So Lucy was kind enough to send us some samples. They sent us a couple rolls of pouches. My personal favorites. I like the espresso. Got them right here. I also like the wintergreen. I just like to use them for a little bit of like extra focus, extra mental lock-in. Nicotine is, in low doses is shown to do that. I have the 12 milligram ones. If you haven't used these before, I would not recommend going with 12 milligram. They're strong. Go with 8 or 4. That's going to be the best bang for your buck if you have not used.
Do not talk to me unless you go 12 or above.
I mean, I got them right here, baby. 12s only. Let's level up nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.com/lightyears and use promo code lightyears to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use code lightyears to get 20% off. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age and every order is age verified. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, to the goons. Where's my guy, Will Decker here? Calling you out by name. Bat and lead off.
Kidding me? Give me an ugly win every single time, baby. Let's go. I got to give massive credit to Jimmy Butler. The guts he showed after an injury. I thought he would be out for the playoffs. Comes back, gets 27 points. Perfect from the free throw line. Ice in his veins. Gets the rebound at the end. Are you kidding me? Buckets. This is why we get him. We are a championship team with Jimmy Butler. Brandon Pajemski. I mean, if I'm Pods, I'm trying to tie the rest of my career to Jimmy because with Jimmy, that man's $100+ million player in the league. Without him, I wouldn't pay $40 million for him. Pods was balling tonight. Loved what I saw.
Pod slander?
Hey, listen, I like Pods. Where the hell was he for game 2 and 3? That's all I'm gonna say on that. And then
seafood poisoning.
Yeah.
Sam, I gotta tell you, man, the Draymond Green. There's not a defender in the world I would take over Draymond in a one-on-one ISO situation to close out a game. Best in the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you saw what he did to Sengun. Sengun's body language changed when he got on the floor. You knew he was like, I got to lock in. Draymond's about to come back in. Gets the biggest stop of the game. We get it going, man. Curry, I mean, that's my GOAT. I love that man to death. He had an off night. We'll give it to him. But, guys, we're up 3-1. We're about to smoke on the loud pack that is the Houston Rockets. And my God, we got a chance in this. And the Light Years room is open for callers once again. Life is good. Title on the way. Let's fucking go, boys. Dubs in 5.
Do I even need to ask you? No, I don't. I was going to say, do you think the series is over? But he just answered my question. That's the energy I need off the bat.
I'm just waiting for this in the Toyota Center in 48 hours. That's all that's missing from this series, a night in the Toyota Center.
Are you...
What a fucking game.
Yeah, let's go, man.
So, I right before he put in TJD, Jackson Davis, I was thinking about him in post. And clearly that was a shit show. But I'm curious what you think about that in the OKC series. Harkenstein's not as strong, but he can shoot a free throw, so we can't hack a free throw him. What do you guys think of that?
I thought Kerr was kind of searching for stuff there. Obviously, Luna's not been great these playoffs so far. He just has
slow.
Yeah, he's lost. He didn't have a lot more to lose physically in terms of his foot speed, and he has lost a little bit more just with age. So, I think giving Trace a look wasn't a bad decision. But
I also think
it didn't go well.
I also think on top of it, sorry, Tommy, is Draymond was in foul trouble, and
Yeah.
Houston's a unique combo. That the Adam Şengün thing, I don't know if they're going to run into that specific type of like double big crash the glass repeatedly combination on any other team. So yeah, he was searching for it. He didn't look good. No other way around it. Like it didn't work in that capacity, but I don't know, man. Like, did you want Looney Post out there? Like, that wasn't going to look any better, you know? So
No, that's the problem. But I feel like Trace would be kind of a good matchup in small doses for Chet. You know, if we're playing OKC, because he's big enough and I feel like he's quick enough where he's not going to stop him constantly. But if you need a few fouls, if you need to keep a body on him, I feel like he's going to be able to do that better than Looney. Not that I don't love Looney. You know, Looney, I feel like we're still going to get a 20 rebound game from Looney at some point this playoffs. But he's just as you know, he just doesn't have it as much, and they don't trust him to shoot it. And it's exciting when he hits it, but it's just so rare that we don't know what we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, OKC, like you're saying, they do run a double big thing as well. And we're getting ahead of ourselves. We got a lot of work to do before we get to OKC. But I understand what you're saying.
Knock on wood.
And Chet is obviously he's a big dude. He's 7 foot long wingspan, but he's more of a big wing offensively instead of like a big man like an Adams or a Şengün. So I think they can get away with putting a bigger wing on him and stashing a guy like that instead of having to go double big. But they'll, Steve will try anything. That's the thing. Steve is not. A lot of coaches are afraid to experiment in the playoffs and expand their rotation, and that's something Steve's never been afraid to do. He'll change, who's playing from matchup to matchup. It's always been that way since he took over.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's exciting to see if we, God forbid we somehow lose, but I think we've got a good shot against the Timberwolves as long as we can make Randall do Randall things. I don't trust him if you make him think. The problem is he's kind of like a bull in a china shop. He'll give you 30 at some point. But I feel like if you get 5 turnovers from him, we're in good shape. Guys, I know you got a lot of people waiting, so I just want to thank you. Enjoy the night. Go Dubs.
Appreciate you, man. Oh, we got a special guest here. Ethan, by the way, I put you on mute, Ethan. You got to unmute yourself. Or maybe I got to unmute you. There we go. I think I'm actually muting him every time he's trying to unmute. So that's a me issue. So I'm gonna let you control it yourself and stop trying to override your settings here.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Yeah,
you're
coming in clear. What's up, man?
Oh, thank goodness. I don't want to hog too much of the microphone. I do think this is a night for the Goons. I think this is a night for them to revel and to enjoy themselves. That was high drama. That was just, I don't know. Is it better? It's probably better if Steph comes through, but I think that perhaps in the long run, the team needed to get it done without him or without him being himself. And for some of these guys to grow up and to mature, Podziemski especially. Yeah, I just wanted to drop in. I just wanted to bask in it. It was the kind of night that made me wish that I was still covering this on the beat because it was just poetic. The Jimmy, but I mean, I'm sure Andrew Wiggins could have dragged them to that victory tonight, right?
I think the Podziemski point is key, and obviously he was huge tonight. 6 threes, 24 points, made some massive block on Fred down the stretch on that little floater there. Had the AM1 where he didn't convert the free throw, but that was still a great finish on kind of that floater where he got bumped. And I don't think it should go unsaid that he's 22 years old. This is his 4th playoff game. Like it's pretty rare stuff from a kid his age. Like, and obviously he's not expected to be the main creator. He's the 3rd creator, by, just kind of pecking order. But that was a spectacular game from him. And especially he was sick as a dog 5 days ago. So and I think that was probably why he was kind of shaky in game 3 still, he's probably still recovering from that, but he was incredible tonight. He's got a chance to be a really good player. And tonight's are the nights where it's like, okay, maybe that, kind of all-star fringe ceiling is a potential thing for him.
It was nice to see him hit that one over Amen Thompson just because he looked so shook by him in the regular season game that they lost. So I thought that was good growth. It was definitely a weird game in its flow. And I'm curious what you guys think about this. When they do the dare shots and they let the non-shooters on the Warriors shoot, Udoka was getting interviewed by Ali LaForce about it, and he is a cocky son of a bitch, that Udoka, man. He really has some swashbuckle to him, but he was saying that it was okay because it was the guys they wanted shooting them. I kind of like when Draymond's letting it fly, and Gary Payton and of course Jimmy Butler too, just because those shots are there and everything gets harder if you don't take them. And the analytics nerd in me is going, well, if it's a 30% shot, that's still pretty good in the context of the series. I thought the Warriors were going to win at the point where there's a point of the game where it was there was a point where the Warriors were 4 of 15 from 3 and the Rockets were 5 of 7. So no. It was the Warriors were 5 of 17 and the Rockets were 5 of 7. So the Warriors had hit as many threes while taking 10 more. And I just thought, this isn't sustainable. This is the game that they want and it will all work out. And lo and behold, I mean, Fred VanVleet, I mean, it got hairy there.
PTSD. 2019
I was getting
PTSD.
I was getting 2019 flashbacks, and I'd like to go back and see some of that. Was that all? I mean, how much of that was Şengün getting a double that maybe he shouldn't have gotten until they were desperate and only had TJD guarding him? And how much of that was just sloppy because they forgot to respect him? But that's what made it hairy was VanVleet, especially that one at the end. Did you guys
know what it was though? It was Draymond being off the floor. That's when Şengün got the most comfortable. And to be fair, Draymond was his own reason he got off the floor. He's lucky he didn't get ejected from the game. Gets into foul trouble. Steve did the right thing, which was like, you're going to calm down because if I keep you out there, you're absolutely going to get yourself ejected. And then, of course, he picks up the extra foul. But like that was the entire span where I thought Şengün went from playing well to like actually just controlling the game there. And I don't know if the Warriors would have an answer for that. Like, he's the best defender on the team. He's maybe the best defender in the league. Like, there's not you lose a guy who's that good, there should be some level of drop off in it. So if anything, I kind of like the way they were able to fight through it because traditionally, if they lose Draymond, they tend to fall apart, Yeah. No matter how unpopular he is, no matter how much he annoys fans, the dude makes a lot of winning basketball plays, and they were able to hold it together enough. And then when he came back on, I mean, brilliant defensive possession at the end, being able to play without fouling there, key parts of the win.
Yeah. And I think the Fred stuff specifically, right? Our guy, Eric Weiss in the chat is pointing out that Fred was only shooting 27% from 3 over the first 3 games. That's going to level out. He's a better shooter than that. And I think Fred was able to catch the Warriors in some, they got slow-footed bigs out there a lot of the time. If they go to anybody besides Draymond at the 5, he's able to catch them and drop. And those bigs get worried about him kind of hesitating and then going to the rim. So I think it's just being more conscious stuff like that. But even that late game possession where Fred hits the 3 to tie it, it's just a miscommunicated switch. Like Jimmy and Buddy got involved in the action there. They didn't switch it quite cleanly enough. Şengün's a good passer. He took one dribble to the right elbow, kicked it back out to Fred, and Fred gets another open 3. And they just got to give him less clean looks. I think that's what it comes down to. And they'll be more conscious of it in game 5. I think like that'll be part of the game plan. But I think the real thing is like, is he just going to go away from Jalen Green now? Because obviously he had that huge game 2, but he did not see the floor much after about the middle part of the second quarter there.
Was anybody else really impressed by Tommy's visual recall of that play in that sequence? That's some talent. If we still had beat writers, I would have to compel him to be the beat writer for the Warriors or one of them. That was very, very impressive. I don't know. I think you just got to ride Green. I mean, they don't really have enough offense and creation. And if VanVleet is going to be off next game and he's not going to shoot 8 of 12 from 3, you're just not going to have enough. So it's been an ugly sequence for Jalen Green, but I don't know what else they can do other than the typical thing that they are doing, which is, try to provoke a suspension and ejection.
Yep.
Dillon Brooks. I mean, one of my takes is Dillon Brooks. He's almost nearly the money baller of dirty play. He finds these little gaps that people don't pay attention to. He is the master of the after the shot shove, which
he really is what people think Draymond Green is in that regard.
Amazing.
Like,
but he also lost in that game. He shoves Jimmy on a 3-point shot, clear hand on the waist. Like, what are you doing, dude? Such a dumb play.
Ime made some crucial mistakes down the stretch. He's a good coach, but I thought he blinked when Kerr went to Hacka Stevens.
Yep.
Ime blinked with the sub. It was one of those where I didn't like it when Kerr did it. In the moment, I said, "Don't do this," and then Ime pulled him and folded the poker hand. I went, "Oh, genius, Steve Kerr." And then the replay review, it's like, what else was that going to be? There was the classic Dylan Brooks shove after the 3-point shot. He does it all the time. Ime has had to see it hundreds of times. So I think the Warriors, in a way, I think got bailed out by Udoka, who, even though he's been to the finals, is still a young coach, making some decisions that were suboptimal.
Yeah, I don't think it can go understated how much Steve has ran circles around Ime, particularly in the last 2 games. You know, I think he's clearly outcoached him, and I think the hack. I did not expect him to take Adams out, but he blinked immediately. They fouled him
Yeah.
twice, and he was immediately out of the game. I couldn't believe it because that even when the Warriors were getting stops in that second half, it was like it felt like the Rockets were getting 50% of those rebounds. I don't know the exact numbers yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they rebounded 45% of their misses in that second half. They were just bludgeoning them on the glass.
Sam, do you have any takes on that? As we're celebrating Steve Kerr, a controversial figure in these parts, but I mean, it's funny because if they had lost the TJD thing, we would probably not shut up about that. It's all's well that ends well.
You know, my whole thing on that, because you're right. Like the TJD thing was like you threw it in the chat, but it was a very like, let's see what James Michael McAdoo has right here. Or just like, do we really need to throw him out there type of thing? But honestly, in like context of the way the game's going, and maybe this is just like when you feel like you're finally in like a long-term marriage. Like, I know Steve. I know what he's gonna do here. I know. And it was just kind of like, all right, well, Draymond's on the bench. He can't put Draymond back in here this soon because he runs the risk of him just getting ejected and then just losing the game. And then they just don't have the options that previous Warriors teams have had. Like, I don't really know where else he could go with it at that point. You know, Looney looks old. Couldn't post.
Yeah.
Is, bless him, he's awesome. But like, he was out there with TJD. Like, they're just running out guys. Guy Santos. I mean, Guy Santos looked terrible early in this series. Couldn't go more than 30 seconds without fouling. So it was worth it. Maybe a little longer than it needed to be in that stretch, but it was just kind of like.
No, I'll tell you what. Earlier in the game when there were all those replay reviews, I thought to myself something like, "This is the longest 6-minute stretch of gameplay that I've ever experienced." And I felt that way until about a quarter later, and TJD played 6 minutes of gameplay, and I felt like that emotionally was the longest 6 minutes that I have experienced in terms of gameplay.
And this is where like the honest conversation with this Warriors team comes. They're good. I like the way the main guys fit together, but like they don't have the depth options of previous Warriors teams. And they get into one of these situations against like a team where they need another big man. Yeah, it's like, all right, let's see what McAdoo or Varejao has type of situation for them, right? Like, so it is what it is. That's kind of, you know, maybe this is the entire direction of the NBA at this point. Everyone has to play just suboptimal players at all times for parity's sake, and you know, so Adam Silver can sell equity to owners or whatever the hell he's talking about these days.
It's like I feel like they have enough to win a championship, but if they don't, we know why they won't. Which is what you're talking about. They're one big short. They've got. I mean, the Lakers might be too big short, but they've got the similar problem to what the Lakers have. The difference between them and the Lakers, though, is that the guys there fit. I think we're about to, I don't want to derail this into a whole Lakers conversation, but it seems like there are going to be some uncomfortable conversations rather quickly in LA that were all being suppressed because the names on the marquee were very impressive. But the Warriors fit. Jimmy Butler has been a seamless fit into what the team does and who they are. And as wonderful a non-Steph play as you could see, Draymond and how he took up all the space against Şengün defensively and just gave him nothing to work with. And then that Jimmy Butler rebound, that was a hell of a rebound to seal the game over Steven Adams. This team fits. They fit very well together.
And I mean, that Jimmy rebound, that's exactly how he flew in for that rebound in Houston when he got undercut by Amen. Very similar type of play. And just having like the mental kind of fortitude and toughness to not have that in the back of your mind as they're flying in for a rebound because he's still obviously labored. Like, it does not look like he can run full speed right now. He got banged up late in the game. I'm interested to see how he comes out of this. I would be surprised if he missed game 5, obviously. But he's just a tough motherfucker, man. At the end of the day, like, that is a guy that you want in the foxhole with you in the most important moments.
Also a showman. That's the other thing I like about Jimmy. The man makes love to the camera. He really does enjoy like the who else does this? Why can't I not think of it off the top of my head? But the like limp around like you're hurt. The next thing you know, like full speed, full aggression.
Luca, when he could actually run full speed still before he got addicted to carbohydrates.
That was like a presidential election ago before he could do it. But yes, but yeah, to your point, you know, it's the whole like it's fun. It's kind of fun to watch a guy like that who, you know, you constantly feel like he's on the edge of like, is he healthy? Can he play? And the next thing you know, he comes in with like aggression and force in a way that like very few players can. I don't know. He's fun to root for. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, he's such a he's such a charismatic basketball player, and it's rather remarkable to even think back to when that trade was controversial and dissected. And if you look at the salary cap, and Andrew Wiggins actually might be the similar value, and it's absurd.
He's blowing up. He's blowing up the locker room. Do we want him on our team? And you know, yeah, be remiss to not notice Miami just got 50-pieced and
dude,
lifeless.
He has given them so much. Even these little moments. I don't know how far they're going, but the post-game interview after a playoff win, him and Buddy Hield joking around, Hield interrupting the interview, Jimmy saying you got to get back to the locker room, and it's just this moment, and you just remember when this team had moments like that and things felt like a big deal and it was high stakes. There were no stakes. They were in oblivion. They were in the wilderness. And again, I don't know if this is going to end in a championship run, but just to have one more stretch of relevant, I mean, I didn't think it would happen. So it's just a miracle that this thing is here right now.
Yeah, and it does. You're right, Ethan. It does feel like those championship seasons, just the vibe.
Yes.
And they're I mean, I've heard it so many times at this point. This team, they really believe in in each other. Like it seems like they are a very tight knit group, similar to 2022. And at the end of the day, like that stuff does matter in a championship chase because the margins are so thin with this stuff. And obviously talent matters too. Got to have the talent to get it done. But these little things like believing in each other and constantly wanting to fight for each other, those can make a difference in a 7-game series where stuff's going to get ugly. It's going to get messy, but not having that feeling of wanting to turn on each other. Like that matters so much.
I mean, the corny stuff that can only happen when you are winning does matter. The narrative, the showmanship, him saying that I'm Robin, Steph's Batman, you know, like all this, he's bringing something. He's bringing something to this show beyond everything he's doing on the court, because there are some basketball players who don't make you feel like you love basketball, even if they're great, just because their personality is not like that. You don't connect to them. Anthony Davis is a name that comes to mind that might be unfair, but there are some other guys, especially in the modern NBA. I guess one topic to potentially discuss, and I can get on out of here and open up the floor to more goons and whatever you guys want to do. Strauss and Tommy talk about the weak link. I saw this going around.
Yeah.
Did you see this whole thing, this theory going around?
Yeah, I did. Sam, did you see that? It was going around Twitter.
I did see it. Obviously, we have to make excuses for a one number 23 on the Lakers anytime he can't get it done. Well, you know, it's not his fault. It's the game's changed. Weak link game now. You know, he did his job, but you know, it's all about the weak link.
I do
there's
think
some validity to it, to be fair. But
yeah.
Why don't you walk through what it is for people who don't know it?
Yeah, go ahead, Ethan.
So somebody was saying that soccer is a weak link sport. I didn't know this about soccer. Sam is a bit of a soccer nerd, so he probably knows all about it. But apparently the team that wins is the team with the dearth of terrible players, as opposed to the team that has the abundance of great players. And I'll take their word for that. They were saying that basketball typically has been a strong link sport where best player wins the series because you get to dictate the action. But maybe with the way that basketball has evolved, it is now the weak link sport. And it's just about having a dearth of weaknesses. So you don't get hunted in the playoffs and you don't get targeted and you don't get your weaknesses seized upon. There's something to it. I think the Boston Celtics last season were
They're definitely a great
close-ish.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, there's sort of a validation of it, but I'm skeptical of this. I mean, if the two best players in the Celtics were 10% worse, they wouldn't be the Celtics. So having some really strong links matters quite a bit. And hell, we'll just have to see it all play out. If the Nuggets beat the Clippers, I think that would invalidate the whole weak link theory, for instance. There's still a lot to go in that series. We'll just have to see. But you need a Gilgeous Alexander if you're the Thunder. I mean, that looks good. They've got a dearth of weaknesses. Basically, what I'm saying is there's some truth to the idea that having fewer weak links is more important in the modern NBA versus the 90s. But you need some of the best links typically to win a championship. Not that much has changed.
I think the reason why it might have more validity now than it ever has is because the game is so spaced out. You have to make decisions so quickly now, and there's so much ground to cover that if you have guys that can't make those quick decisions, that are not big enough, fast enough, strong enough, et cetera, it gets more exposed than when you're playing the game with three guys in the key. You didn't have to make those decisions necessarily as quickly. I think particularly on defense, and I think that's where you see it more in a way. But playing in more space, it's going to necessitate having less guys who don't understand what the hell is going on out there. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
I also think it comes down to kind of an imperfect understanding of what skills matter. Like end of the day, to win in basketball, you need to have at least one dude who's transcendent in some way.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously the less transcendent they are, the more you can probably make up for in the aggregate. But like you need someone to at least build around. You need someone who you're building your offense around. And then in a perfect world, you're putting players around them who both complement their strengths and mask their weaknesses. And I don't think that's necessarily changed. I think to Tommy's points, what's changed is the actual skills. Like there's just a lot of basketball dogma, which doesn't necessarily apply to what matters. So like the idea that Pajemski is a better fit than Kuminga would spit in the face of what just like someone over the age of 50 who's like old school would think. It's like, well, no, you want the guy who's 6'7", who's athletic, who can do a bunch of things. Like, no, you want the guy who's capable of mentally processing the game at the same speed as Steph and who can actually compete with him. So I think that's where you see the difference.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, the weak link thing, like it is kind of just an homage to coaching's better. Coaching's better today than it probably was even 3 years ago, but like definitely 10 years ago. So yeah, if you have someone out there who has a clear exploitable weakness, teams are going to find it quicker than they might have a decade ago. And then that also ties back to Tommy's point, which is like, yeah, if you got a real weakness and they can get you into space, it's going to get very ugly very quick.
Yeah. All of that's completely true. I do think the theory in saying basketball's now like this, it just maybe overinterprets what's happened because it's still true in basketball that it's much easier to get. It's a great take. It's having us talk about it and think about the sport and how it's moving, but you can still choose when your star gets the ball for the most part, possession after possession in basketball. The skeleton key for offense in basketball is a guy who can command a double team or command extra attention. You're not going to win a championship with a bunch of 3-and-D role players. You're just not going to do that unless you're especially cruel about who Jason Tatum is and whatnot. I mean, it's just
yeah, that's a little mean to call him a 3-and-D guy.
You need to command a double team. You need stars. That's still the case, but this does capture something about how the game has gotten a little bit more like soccer.
I do think it's what I was going to say is it's smarter to build a team that fits around like Jokic. Let's say Jokic is your star He's a great starter builder. He's maybe the best player in the league, all timer. It's more important to put players who actually fit around him than it is
Yes.
to just put another superstar around him. And maybe 15 years ago, it didn't matter. Maybe 15 years ago, it's like, 15 years ago, Luka and LeBron would not have been nearly as big an issue as it is today.
Yeah.
And so that's probably your best argument for the weak link sport. Because 15 years ago, I don't know if teams would be able to exploit it the same way they do now.
It's such a great point, Sam. I mean, because Luka's the great example as well. You're better off surrounding him with exactly the complementary pieces, guys who roll to the rim and then are vicious shot blockers on the other side is what you need, combination with some other things, versus if you combine Luka with guys who might be stars, as we're seeing, and it doesn't work nearly as well. So there's nuance here, and I think you're making a great point that it's about complementing your strong link. That's what it's all about. As I get too heady and I feel myself getting,
Back to the Goons.
Yeah, back to the Goons. Goon. Yeah, great playoff game. Everybody who enjoys it, revel in it. Thanks for having me on. It's cool to have the Warriors in the playoffs, guys. It's very cool.
And that was my little brother who threw out the weak link theory there. So appreciate you, Matt. Thanks for throwing that in the chat.
All right, we have a lot of people to get to here, and I told Mikas he could go next, mostly because I'm still paying off a debt to Mikas. I made him wait for 2 hours. He lets me hear about it every time, but the debt is over once the series is over, buddy.
Mr. Mikas,
what's up, man?
Okay, so debt is over in 48 hours. I mean, that's tough. I mean, you're laughing, but like, is it going on another 48 hours? I don't think so. I can barely speak English right now, and I'm a white man, so I mean, it's tough because I can barely speak English right now. Me and Kelly have been drinking.
I was gonna. Is Kelly still there?
No, he departed. I just went and got a sandwich, but it's sitting on my.
What kind of sandwich?
It's a sausage, egg, and cheese. It's ketchup, mayo, little hot sauce, salt, pepper. And it's good as fuck in New York. I mean, come on, it's New York. We're getting good sandwiches, but the thing is, it's not better. It's not better than a little Warriors win. It's not better than a little Warriors win on a fucking guys. It was about to be like if they hit that shot, we were losing in overtime. And I think you guys kind of agree. Like if they hit that shot, they were kind of gassed. They didn't have it. They like it. I think that was a loss in overtime. And
I thought it was in. I thought that shot was in.
I think you're right. By the way, the longer it goes, the more Houston's youth probably plays to their favor. So yeah.
But the nice thing tonight was it wasn't in, and that's a better team. And we have a better team, and it's nice to be the better team. It's nice to be the older team, the smarter team, the wiser team. And yeah, I got nothing about spina bifida tonight. Like I don't like.
Hey, man, go enjoy your sandwich. We love you here. Appreciate yourself, brother.
Love you, Mikas. What a legend.
One more, though. We can do a quick break here. Let's get Dr. Thompson up here and try to get some new names. And by the way, if you're still waiting, we're getting to you. Don't worry. We're getting to everyone here. Everyone who's on hold now, I cannot promise beyond that.
Muted.
What's up, man?
Might be muted.
Check your mic inputs, buddy. Let me try this one more time. Double check. Click the downward caret next to the microphone and just confirm it's plugged into the right thing.
All right. What about now?
Perfect.
Good to go.
So I've been thinking about fraudulence.
I love this start.
And Alperen Şengün is approaching like Domantas Sabonis levels of fraudulence right now. Like, I just get so jazzed every time he's in an ISO against a 6'2" guy, knowing that he's like got a 40% likelihood of making a shot. So there was a Kendrick Perkins thing that came across the timeline. He's like, oh, Draymond better strap on his sneakers real tight because Şengün is hooping right now. And I'm like, yeah, against Brandon Podziemski. So I just wanted your opinion on that. Like, what level of fraudulence is Şengün at this point? I think it's pretty strong. And I don't think he's a worthy adversary, but he's kind of in this post-22 Warriors realm, getting into the point of just being a really fun guy to go against, because I just am never concerned about Alperen Şengün, and I love it every single time he touches the basketball. So
I think he's better than Sabonis. Younger, I think higher upside long term. But I do think there is something key to what you're saying. I think the Warriors are totally okay with him ISOing for the most part. Some of their breakdowns tonight were honestly doubling him when they kind of shouldn't have or didn't have to. Fred got some threes that way. I think they're okay with him scoring as long as he's not getting everybody else involved. That's kind of been the game plan. I think the assist numbers are pretty low, and that is intentional. That is intentional game planning. And I think as long as they have Draymond playing like Draymond and not being in foul trouble and not getting kicked out of a game, they are totally fine with that ISO. And it obviously showed on the last possession of the game. Şengün could not get as deep of position as he wanted to, had to throw up a really tough kind of like spinning hook shot. And, he misses it. So I think it's easy to make guys look fraudulent, especially post players who are like not Jokic when Draymond Green's out there. My biggest thing with him is he whines too much. Like, God, like, yes, like, dude, you are clumsy. You are a hack. Please stop complaining to the officials when you're basically using your shoulder as a battering ram on half of your drives.
So he's 12 of 28 tonight, and a number of these field goals is just the ball getting up on the rim and him just getting like blind squirrel finds the nut. Like it dropped in after hitting the back of the rim. So that's just a little bit of a spicy take for me, but I am officially never going to be concerned about him ever again.
I do. So I also think he's way better than Sabonis. I actually like Şengün as a player and like the aggregate, but I do think you're also hitting on a key thing, which is that style of player can never on their own beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't put the Warriors in foul trouble. And the little in-between game he has is nice. It's something Sabonis doesn't really have. And it's definitely super useful for the Rockets, who go through disgusting droughts of not being able to score the ball. But it's just a math game. Like him hitting 48% on those little like 8-foot runners, it's a nice bailout shot. It's just not going to generate the same as like swing, three, swing, three, swing, cut to layup, right? So I think he's somewhere in between that land of not fraudulent, but like the style of player he is. You just can't build a team around him.
Right.
Unless he turns into Jokic. But he probably won't, because like that's one of the best of all time.
He doesn't have that level of touch. He doesn't have that level of touch,
or size, or like
missed 6 free throws tonight. He missed 6 free throws tonight, and that's like
exactly,
an uncommon occurrence for him.
And so go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and that's my point. I don't even view that as an insult, because Jokic might be the best center of all time. Like it's just kind of one of those things where it's like it's actually the same concept as like, oh, why can't you just be like Steph? It's like, buddy, I hate to tell you, anyone who can just shoot off of a 30-foot pick and roll can't just be Steph Curry. It's like anyone who can operate out of the mid post and is a good passer with some touch will not be Jokic. And that's kind of where I see Şengün. Like it's like pretending Dame could be Steph type of things.
Yeah. Şengün is the Jokic what like Trae Young is to Steph, essentially.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it, which is both a compliment and also kind of like but this isn't the one, guys.
Yeah.
I think one other thing I just want to mention in parting is some of it has to do with floor imbalance and scrambling around, but I was just dying for them to force Van Vliet off of the 3-point line, because you put one shot inside of the arc And I just don't view him as someone who's going to be incredibly efficient or any of the guys that he could like swing the ball out to, of that being such a great threat as when he's in a zone, him getting rhythm looks, even if they're 4 or 5 feet off the line. He just looked really good when he was getting those clean looks. So I think if they bottle that up and continue to allow Shane to play ISO ball, that we're not looking at another home game in this series.
Makes sense. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank
Have
you.
a great.
Yeah.
I think before we move it on real quick, part of it is I don't really think the Rockets make them feel like they need to change their scheme. Like
Yeah.
like the whole like the concept of like scheme integrity, or like, oh wow, this guy's killing us, so we're gonna switch it up. Like the famous example, recent example is like they felt that way about Kawhi, so they started saying dumbles at him in that game, and maybe they shouldn't have, but Kawhi's that fucking good that you're just like, maybe we gotta do this right now. No one on the Rockets is really like, you're like, all right, Fred's gonna hit this fine, but like if we die by 10 Fred VanVleet threes, then so be it. I'll take my chances. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and I mean the Kawhi is obviously much better than anybody that the Rockets have, but that's also like a one game thing. You know what I mean? Like that
Sure.
was one game, everything on the line. I think typically over the course of the series, like if the Warriors believe in their game plan, they're going to kind of stick with it. They're not going to freak out. They're not going to overreact to, Fred being hot from three. You obviously got to make minor adjustments within it, any type of game, but they're not going to throw out the whole playbook just because Fred gets hot for 20 minutes.
Right. Same way they're not going to, change their defensive game plan if Şengün hits like 3 straight, like what are those 8-foot floaters, whatever. Like it's a nice shot. It's skillful. You're not losing on that on repeat, so
Totally.
is what it is. Guys, before we move forward, just want to tell you one more time, Surfside now available in Northern California. For you guys who don't know, Surfside vodka, 100 grams, only 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. Easy drink, perfect for a spring turning to summer night. It is feeling summery, kind of where I am. Warriors game, perfect for a Surfside, and it's available. Costco, Target, Northern California, great deals there. So, guys, next time you're having a barbecue, next time you're having a nice Saturday outing, or Wednesday night when the Warriors play, make sure to pick up some Surfsides.
They're the best, man. Perfect summer drink.
They really are. Like the type of like canned vodka, 100 calories, smooth. It's exactly what you want in that weather. It's not heavy. You have an IPA, you're sweating, you feel like trash, you want to sleep, you look fat, it's terrible. This is Surfside season. No more IPAs until after Thanksgiving for me.
Yeah, it's like sometimes if you want to have a couple, like you don't want to be the no carbonation is really nice. You don't want to be bloated. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have a couple drinks, like especially we're in our mid-30s now, it can get a little bit. The system doesn't quite work as well as it used to. So not having all that carbonation, in your diet.
And guys, that is why Metamucil.
Shoot, dude, let's get them on as a sponsor. Cover all of our bases. All right. Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by LinkedIn. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, you need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. I personally have actually found jobs through LinkedIn Jobs. They've been a very good resource for me. But if you are, running a business, starting a business, one of the best places to post is LinkedIn. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write your job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of people with the right people with deep candidate insights. Either post your job for free or pay to promote. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of the candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting your best. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lightyears. That is linkedin.com/lightyears to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Nice. All right. This is a power goon session.
We need to be carried for a little bit. Open backpack.
Words that should never be said in that order. No, there's just some people here. I want to get them on. Steven, what's up, man?
Dark.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Coming in clear.
Hey guys, long time goon, first time caller up here representing up in Canada. We got an election going on here tonight, and then now I'm thinking is maybe we should trade away our prime minister for Jimmy Butler because that's the only way we're gonna get our country back on track. My
I know.
goodness.
I know nothing about Canadian politics, so I can't speak on that, but I do know about Jimmy Butler, and generally, Jimmy Butler leads to positive results.
Oh my goodness, the man is just on a mission. Like I was just like, how the heck did we win that last game without him? But yeah, I don't want to take up too much time. Just gonna get in here and shout out to Brandon. My goodness, BP, crazy game. That we don't not win that game without him. So,
Steven, where are you at in Canada?
Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. Thoughts on Dylan Brooks, just a fellow countryman?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about he's from out east. It's completely different out east.
We don't claim.
Fair
we
enough.
don't claim him. Yeah, okay,
Fair
gotcha.
All right.
Appreciate you, Steven. Have a
Thanks,
great
Steven.
evening.
Hey,
Cisco, what's up, man?
what's up? My God, my heart was getting out of my mouth during this game, man. But one thing, you were talking about things that are going on online. I think 100 Rockets players against Steph is the same thing as 100 men against a gorilla. Okay, from different ages, you can pick them up from different years. Okay, and it's exactly the. It must feel to them like the same thing. Okay, so I'll leave it up here. Oh, let me
Nice.
just open.
I
Trying to
appreciate it.
open a little cachaça for you,
Love it.
just to have a toast to the Warriors, and let's hope we finish this in 5, and then wait for the Lakers in 7. Okay, for them to have to taste the same medicine of 2 years ago when they catched us after 7 games against the Kings, and the first game we were all off, and so let's drink to that and hope for better days.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great
San
evening.
Francisco.
Hey, fellas, I'm going to utter some words that have never been spoken before by anybody on earth. Buddy Hield, you set the tone defensively.
That's incredible.
By the way, I'm feeling very vindicated by my buddy takes.
Mhm.
I wish cast that one into the universe.
Yeah, I love.
Does
Buddy,
it happen
man.
if they don't trade for Jimmy? No.
No.
0 chance. But Buddy's exactly the type of guy that Jimmy has brought the best out of his entire career. And this is a great matchup for him. Like, can we just say it? Like, that's the other part of it. They need his offense, and the Rockets they're not the team who's going to take advantage of his shortcomings on the other end of the ball.
No, they're not. Like, that could obviously be an issue as they get deeper into the playoffs. You play, I mean, shoot, even next round, it ends up being the Timberwolves or Lakers. But he might be a little bit less playable. But no, he's been, he was amazing tonight. And I think, he makes dumb decisions defensively sometimes, but he always has the right intent. He plays hard, and he's quicker and stronger than people give him credit for. You can't, like, if he gets switched on to a big for one possession, I'm not worried that he's going to get bullied, or like by big wings. I'm not worried that he's just going to get absolutely, just put under the rim by guys like that. So, and look, man, everybody clearly loves the guy. Like, people cannot say enough about him as a person. And that matters in these playoff runs. It really does.
I agree. All right. What's up, man?
I think we're muted.
Manny, you're on mute. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
What's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Excellent. Can I get a surf side in here? Some swag surfing? We got a Warriors win in the books. Hey, coming from ATL. Okay. First off, I want to start off. Jimmy Limp Biscuit Buckets. My dude, killing it. He was in mad pain, but he is still killing it all night. Second point, Poddy play them buckets. Pod was killing it all night. I don't know where it came from. Jesus blessed him and just started crushing it all night. Third point, Buddy Buckets. Man, Buddy, he was stinking it up all year. but he's turning around in the playoffs. Super happy about that. Also, Steve Kerr is playing chess with those coach moves. It was awesome.
Yep.
I give it to him. It's been a great game. But all in all, I'm actually thinking about going to the game on Wednesday. What should I do, fellas? Should I do it?
How far of a trip is that for you?
So I looked it up. So I can get floor seats for like $400, and a flight from Atlanta to Houston is like $38. So I'm spending about $500.
Oh
So
man, that feels like.
That's a better
Look, man,
deal.
chance to see Steph hit a night in the Toyota Center. Come on now, come on now.
I think I'm gonna do it, and then I'll tag y'all.
Perfect.
Please,
I love
please
it,
let
man.
us know. Like I'm feeling a little.
Yeah, I'm invested. I'm invested.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, if I tell you to do this and it doesn't work out, I'm gonna feel like a real asshole. So am I willing to put my name on the line for a round 1, game 5 game? And the answer
I'm
is
just like,
yes. The answer is yes. I'm in.
I'm balanced though. It's like, should I spend my money on that game or wait till we go to the finals and experience that?
Right. I mean, honestly, that is kind of the move because, like, if you think about it, next round, it's more likely going to be Minnesota. If it's LA, none of us can afford it because that's about to be the
Yeah.
most expensive ticket on earth. But let's say it's Minnesota. Have you priced that out? How far is that flight? What's that? 2-hour flight from Atlanta? 3 hours?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So maybe. And then you're talking conference finals. That would be Oklahoma City
It's not too
or
far.
Denver. You know, you got to play the math game here. I don't know, but that is a good deal. If you can really get to Atlanta on a $50 or less flight and it's $400 to be on the floor and you know how much they hate the Warriors and how much it's
Oh,
going to
it would
hurt
be.
them. So how much it's going
Oh
to hurt
man,
them, like it's an opportunity that's hard to pass.
and I'm like the number one shit talker, man. I love going in enemy territory. It was the greatest. You know what game I was at? I was at the Bulls Lakers game when they won on a half court shot.
Yep.
Man, that was glorious to talk shit to Lakers fans. But I think going to enemy country, I think that'd be kind of fun. So you guys convinced me. I think I'm gonna do it.
I say go
Wednesday.
for it, man. Look,
All right.
you know, we only got so many of these left, right? Like, we only got so many playoff runs left. This could be the last time that they play Houston in a series like this. It'd be a nice little bookend to 10 years of dominance if you're there for it.
All right. Well, I'm going, fellas, all because of y'all, and I'm gonna tag you in the video when we win.
Can't
Get
wait,
ready.
man.
Appreciate you, man. I'm going to feel really bad if that doesn't work out.
I know, right?
Guru, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? What's up,
How you
guys?
doing?
What a game. What a game. Heart's like pounding through my chest the entire time. And Ime Udoka never disappoints with the Draymond Green. I was like, thank God, that's the play you drew up. Oh my God. But I mean, Jimmy, so tough, so tough. Like I saw him limping with a minute to go in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was just, I mean, amazing to see him gut through all of that. Pods was brilliant today. And then I was actually going to bring up that quote Kerr said about Buddy. I was watching it while you guys were talking with Ethan, and then it just popped in my head, like, that's the difference between Buddy and JK, right? And like a lot of people were calling for Buddy to get benched in game 1 and game 2 for JK. And I mean, we were all trying to explain to him, like, that's the reason why. Like, but Buddy, does he do the right thing all the time? No, but he tries. He tries his hardest, and when it manifests itself in a good way, that's the result of it, right? JK, I mean, like, he has more athletic talent and skill, but you know, unless you try, like, you're not going to get, like, you know, the benefit of the doubt, nor you're going to get the respect of your teammates, right? And so like I mean, I just felt that just popped in my head. And like, speaking of JK and Amin Thompson and Jalen Green, like, this is another thing that just popped in my. I just wanted your guys' opinion on it. Like the G League Ignite, like what the experiment there. I mean, it
not looking
seems like
good.
it's not looking good. They're churning out players who just don't know how to play basketball, and you compare them to guys like Pods, even like Post. Like, these are guys who just, like, they know how to play the game. They're not the most talented guys, but they know how to play basketball. And I mean, like Amin Thompson doesn't even know how to hit a free throw. It's sort of mind boggling to me. Like I was just having a discussion with my friend. Like Amin Thompson does the hardest things so easily, and he does the easiest things like they're the hardest thing in the world.
Mm.
And then those are just like my thoughts. But like, hey, Game 5, Toyota Center, closeout game, Steph Curry. You know what to do. You know what to do.
No, I think after the G League Ignite thing there, because I do agree with you, we might have to change it from light years Gooners to light years Boomers. It's a very these kids need to go to 3 and 4 years of college. You know, they gotta learn the fundamentals of the game. But there is some truth to it, right? Like, and I think some of it is like almost a mentality thing too. Like the G League Ignite or like overtime elite, that stuff all feels like very individualized. Like it's about like those like spotlight type of players. Whereas, like, when you go play for, you know, a college basketball team, that's just not what it is. Oh, Fitz, my goat, Bob Fitzgerald. No,
Four-year
but
player
that
understands how to play for his teammates.
look, man, Steve agrees with him, and I'm always going to side with Steve Kerr on this type of stuff. But the key is like with the Buddy and Kuminga thing, like they're just vastly different players. Like asking for Kuminga to play over Buddy, that's not the option. Like Buddy provides a certain thing that this team doesn't have. He provides shooting, movement. He can actually space the floor even when he's not making shots. So you kind of just have to live with the tough stretches and hope you can have enough nights like tonight to get you over the finish line.
Yeah, I agree. Guru, appreciate you, man.
I did not think I sounded like Fitz there, but now I hear myself back. Yeah, I did. I did sound like Fitz.
It's all good. We all turn to Bob one day or another. Appreciate you, man. Oh, keep it moving. This picture is just my favorite. The smugness.
Yeah, he's the best.
I mean, they cut they cut the G League Ignite program for a reason. Let's put it that way.
Totally.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
First of all,
how you doing?
Good. Hey, I'm probably the first person that you've ever had on that is called in from the college town of Clay Thompson. So,
we're in Pullman, the Palouse.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. Hey, I take a lot of pride in my ability to like think basketball because my job is to write about basketball and kind of know ball in that way. But I did not come here to talk basketball. I came here to talk shit about the Rockets.
Let's go.
I do not respect this team in any way, shape, or form. I don't think they respect the game. I think Ethan said it best on here earlier. You can't win a championship with just like 8 athletic 3-and-D role players, and that's what they think they can do. They're not even like shooting to like score at the time. They're shooting to like get an offensive rebound and put it back. And so it's just maybe I'm just a boomer, maybe I'm just Fitz, but I feel like you just cannot it's just not really like it's unsporting in my opinion. It's not really like respecting the game, and it's just hard to watch. It's just I don't know. I just like maybe I'm just like on my
or maybe they're just not that good. Like
they're not.
It's really just as simple for me as like who's their best player.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah, I just it drives me crazy because I don't think it's the actual player's fault, but like the guys, I think that you can build a team with just 8 Tari Easons. It's like, dude, that's not the way it works. You know what I mean? Especially not against the Warriors.
Well, and that's why like we haven't really talked about it, but like they drafted Jalen Green thinking he'd be like basically what Anthony Edwards is, right? They thought they could build their offense around him, and he's just not that guy. He's not a bad player, but he's certainly not that guy. And like I would love to have Amin Thompson on my team. Excellent player. He's not a focal point offensive player. He's kind of a does everything else type of guy. Just kind of who they are as a roster. Like they're I don't think they're really going to get better than what we're seeing right now. If this is if they keep this roster together. Now they have picks, they have the ability to make a trade. They trade for a guy, they trade for like a Devin Booker or something like that, so we can actually build an offense around. Different story. But like if they run this roster back next year, like do you really think they're going to be better than this? Or is it just going to be another version of this?
It feels like, outside of the fact that they can't really shoot, it feels like they're almost trying to moneyball it in a way. Like they've had an opportunity to trade for KD and like get better players. But at the end of the day, like they don't have enough. They don't have anybody, and this is what it comes down to. They don't have anybody that puts like the fear of God in the Warriors, and they wouldn't in most playoff matchups. No matter who they really played in the first round, outside of like Memphis, they probably would have been the underdog coming into that series with any of the other top 7 teams. They just don't have enough top end talent. So like, we talked about that weak link theory earlier, and there is some validity to that. But if you don't have like that top 5, top 10 strong link, you're just not going to make enough hay in the playoffs. It's just how basketball has always been, and it'll, I think, be that way forever.
The Rockets are a weird team where I think this might say it all. Like when they get hot, to whatever extent they get hot, I'm really not bothered or like moved by it. Like when Amen Thompson hits like a 10-foot push shot, I'm like, okay, I really don't care. Like that's not gonna go well in
Right.
the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Like those are the type of shots I'm not gonna count on them making. And what do you know? They don't make them. You know what I mean?
It's not Steph hitting a 3 off dribble. You're like, oh fuck. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's not the same thing.
It's,
I appreciate you, man.
yeah, thanks, guys.
Enjoy Pullman. Have a
Yes,
great
sir.
evening.
Yeah.
I got something here I wanted to share real quick before we move to the next person. Our guy Jimmy.
About Brooks.
Yeah. And they're fed up. They're fed up with the Dylan Brooks shenanigans. I can't decide if this is good or bad at this point. To me, it just is, get me on record. I don't like Dylan Brooks. I don't think anybody's trying to be friends with anybody on either team. That's for sure.
There's some Jimmy Butler like Grant Williams vibes circa 2023 there. But Grant's just annoying. Dylan Brooks is a legitimately dirty player. Like you said,
Yeah,
I think
it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, man, what dumb thing is he going to do next game, and is it going to cost someone their ankle?
Yeah, 100%. I think everybody kind of saw that play from Game 3, where like after Steph shoots that step back 3 to start the fourth quarter, he like swats at Steph's bad hand. Like after the ball's way gone. Steph's hands are down by his waist by that point, and Dylan's taking a legitimate swipe at his hand. Like the trip tonight it wasn't the dirtiest play, but it certainly wasn't clean. And it's as big of a reason as any to end this series on Wednesday. So they just don't have to see these guys for another 48 minutes after that, because the injury risk is just high playing against them. We've already seen it a little bit with the Jimmy play, but it could get worse the longer this series goes.
Yeah. Let's get one more on here. What do we gotta get?
Yo, what
Nick Walter.
up? What is up? Let's get a better camera. There we go. Yo, man, what a fucking win! What a win! What a win! Stressful, but those are the best. Those are the best. Get the blood flowing, brothers. Yeah, love that. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. And we all knew this was going to happen, because this is how the story is supposed to play out for the Rockets. They're supposed to look like they're turning their thing around, that everything's fine, everything's great, they are progressing, and that we are going to rip their souls out. This is what they deserve. That's what they get for having the shrimp guy that owns their team. Like, that's what they get, right? They get pain. They get suffering. That is what Houston deserves. And that is what we're going to give them when Jimmy drops 55 on them next game. He's going to do it. He's going to drop a 50 piece on these fools. They're going to keep talking all this stuff. It's going to be a day worth of Jimmy saying this, Jimmy saying that. Dylan Brooks is going to come out and say, oh, I didn't like what Jimmy Butler said about me on the record. And then he's going to try to pull some punk ass shit. It ain't going to work. And Jimmy's going to light his ass and that whole team on fire. Steph's going to be able to sit the whole fourth just watching this going, hey, Jimmy, wow, this is great. I can't believe I got someone like this on my team. It's going to be freaking awesome, and we're going to annihilate them by at least 20 points in Game 5. I'm very much looking forward to stomping on their graves. It's going to be phenomenal.
Jimmy said as much in his post-game interview with Ali LaForce. He was like, all it took was one idiot to start talking to me, and then it was like, all right, the injury doesn't matter anymore. I don't feel it, And I was worried.
The endorphin rush. I was like, he's saying what? Yeah, my hip's fine. My hip's fine. I got business to handle.
I thought for sure he was going to get a flagrant on that late chase down at the end of the first half on Brooks. I'm shocked I didn't look at that. And
he did it smartly. He did the swipe. He didn't push him. He did the swipe on the arm, and Brooks tried to sell it by flopping. He tried to sell it by flopping, and everyone knows he's a clown, The refs know he's a clown too, and they're like, that clown, that wasn't anything. And they gave him they didn't even review it because they're like, yeah, look at that clown trying to flop into the stands. What an idiot. Because everyone in the league knows he's an idiot. Everyone, even Team Canada does. They try not to play him, but they can't get any of their good people to come out and play on their team like Shea and whatnot. They can't get Wiggins to come out because he's playing Where's Waldo and never plays for Canada. Canada's a complete disaster because they're dependent on Lou Dort and Dylan Brooks to carry them because they can't get Murray to show up or anyone else useful on their team because it's just kind of a crap basketball country, right? Led by Dylan Brooks of all people. Who would have thought?
Appreciate you, McWalters.
Thanks, McWalter.
Let's have a great evening.
I love the rest of Canada, though. They're great.
Are we jumping off? Looks like we might be. Nope, Sam's still here.
Sorry about that. That's my bad.
You're
Yeah,
good.
no, we're ending it on
You
that.
dismiss me.
I appreciate everyone.